Have you ever had that gut feeling? That little voice in the back of your head telling you something is terribly wrong? I had it for weeks. My girlfriend Clara, the love of my life for 3 years, started acting distant. Phone calls became texts. Date nights became "I'm too tired." And her phone was suddenly guarded like it held state secrets. I tried to ignore it, telling myself I was just being insecure. After all, we were talking about marriage, about a future together. But that nagging feeling just wouldn't go away. Then there were my friends. My inner circle, Mark, Dave, and Tom. We'd been through everything together since college. Lately, though, they were being weird too. They'd dodge my questions about Clara, change the subject, or give me these pitying looks when they thought I wasn't watching. It was like there was this giant secret everyone was in on except me. The air was thick with it, suffocating me every time we hung out. I felt like I was going crazy, questioning my own sanity. The breaking point came on a random Tuesday. I'd planned a surprise for Clara. I left work early, bought her favorite flowers, and picked up dinner from that little Italian place she loves. I walked up to her apartment, my heart doing a little happy dance, picturing the look on her face. I put my key in the lock, turned it, and pushed the door open. And that's when my world shattered. There, on our sofa, was Clara. And she wasn't alone. She was with Mark, my best friend, Mark. I just stood there, frozen in the doorway, the flowers and the bag of food suddenly feeling like lead weights in my hands. The silence was deafening. They both jumped up, their faces a mix of shock and guilt. Clara started stammering, trying to find words. But what could she possibly say? Mark just stood there, unable to even look me in the eye. I didn't shout. I didn't scream. I just dropped the flowers, dropped the food, turned it around, and walked out. The walk back to my car was a blur. My mind was a hurricane of betrayal. Not just Clara, but Mark too. The two people I trusted most in the world. When I got to my car, the rage finally hit me. It wasn't a loud, explosive rage. It was a cold, quiet fury that settled deep in my bones. I drove for hours, not really going anywhere, just trying to process the sheer scale of the deception. Then, I got a text from Dave. "Man, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell you." Then another from Tom. "We didn't know how to say anything. We didn't want to hurt you." So they knew. They all knew. They watched me plan a future with a woman who was cheating on me with our best friend, and they said nothing. My entire support system was a lie. That night, sleeping on a lumpy motel bed, the cold fury started to sharpen into a plan. Hurt. Oh, they were going to feel hurt, but not in the way they expected. I wasn't going to key their cars or start a bar fight. My revenge would be smarter. It would be surgical. It would dismantle the lives they had so carefully built while they were busy dismantling mine. The next morning, I went back to the apartment when I knew Clara would be at work. I packed my things, every last trace of me, and I left. But not before taking something very important. The spare key to Marcus's apartment that he'd given me years ago for emergencies. This, I thought, was an emergency. Phase 1 of my plan was about information. I knew Mark was a bit of a slob, and he wasn't exactly a tech genius. Using that spare key, I let myself into his apartment one afternoon. It felt the Blair wrong. But my sense of right and wrong had been nuked. On his desk, his laptop was open. He hadn't even logged out of his email or social media. It was a gold mine. I didn't have to dig deep. There were emails between him and Clara, filled with all the nauseating details of their affair. They'd been seeing each other for over 6 months. 6 months of lies, but that wasn't the jackpot. The real prize was in his work emails. Mark had a high-pressure sales job at a major tech firm. He was always bragging about his numbers, his bonuses, his killer instinct. Turns out, his killer instinct involved some shady practices. He was falsifying sales reports, promising clients features that didn't exist, and even taking kickbacks from a smaller vendor. I screenshotted everything. Every damning email, every doctored spreadsheet. I saved it all to a secure cloud drive and wiped the computer's history. I was a ghost. Now for Clara. Clara worked in marketing for a boutique fashion brand. Her entire career was built on her image, professional, polished, creative persona. She managed a company's social media and was the face of their online presence. She also had a personal blog, a lifestyle blog where she wrote about honesty, integrity, and finding your truth. The hypocrisy was staggering. I found her draft posts, her content calendar. I also found the conversations she'd been having with a rival brand about jumping ship. And she was not just talking, she was sharing her current company as confidential marketing strategies as a sample of her work. Corporate espionage. Plain and simple. Again, I screenshotted everything. With my arsenal of digital ammunition complete, it was time for phase 2. Deployment. I waited for the perfect moment. Mark was up for a huge promotion, the one he'd been gunning for all year. The announcement was due on a Friday. On Thursday night, I created a series of anonymous, untraceable email accounts. The first email went to the entire executive board of Mark's company, including the CEO and the head of HR. The subject line was simple: a closer look at your star salesman's ethics. Attached was a neatly organized file containing all the evidence of his fraud. I sent a similar package to the vendor he was taking kickbacks from. Then, I turned to Clara. Her company was launching a major spring campaign the following week. A campaign she had personally designed and was set to lead. The night before the launch, another anonymous email went out. This one was sent to the founder of her company and the head of marketing. The subject: your new campaign and a question of loyalty. Inside was all the proof of her sharing confidential strategies with their biggest competitor. For an extra touch, I scheduled a post on her own lifestyle blog to go live at 9 a.m. the next morning. It was a simple post, composed of screenshots of her emails with Mark, under the title she'd already drafted for a different topic: My Journey to Authentic Living. The fallout was biblical. I didn't stick around to watch the mushroom clouds, but I heard about it. Dave and Tom, racked with guilt, filled me in. Mark was fired on the spot. Not only that, his company launched a full-scale investigation, and he was facing potential legal action for fraud. His career was toast, the vendor cut ties, and his professional reputation was annihilated overnight. He tried calling me, texting me, hundreds of times. I never answered. Clara's implosion was just as spectacular. She was also fired immediately. The rival company she'd been courting ghosted her the second the scandal broke. Her carefully curated online world came crashing down. Her blog was flooded with comments. Her social media was a dumpster fire. She had built her entire identity on a lie, and I had simply held up a mirror. She sent me long, rambling emails, alternating between begging for forgiveness and accusing me of ruining her life. I just marked them as spam. And what about Dave and Tom? The friends who stood by and watched. They didn't get off scot-free. Their punishment was seeing what happened. It was the guilt they now had to live with, knowing they could have stopped the affair, or at least told me the truth, but chose cowardice instead. Our friendship was over, of course. I couldn't trust them anymore. The silence and the pitying looks had been just another form of betrayal. Some people might say what I did was too much, that I should have taken the high road. But the high road is for people who've been slighted, not for those who've had their entire world systematically dismantled by the people they trusted most. They didn't just break my heart. They tried to break my spirit. My revenge wasn't about causing random pain. It was about justice. It was about holding them accountable for their actions in a language they would understand. Consequences. It took time to heal, a lot of time. I moved to a new city, got a new job, and started rebuilding my life from the ground up. I had to learn how to trust people again, how to trust myself. It was a long and difficult journey, but I did it. Today, I'm in a much better place. I have real friends, a partner who values honesty, and a life built on a foundation of truth. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. They made their choices, and I simply revealed them to the world. Sometimes, the only way to get closure is to slam the door shut yourself. Thanks for listening to my story. It's a heavy one, I know. If you've ever been through something similar, know that you're not alone and that it does get better. It's okay to stand up for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, or if it resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. See you in the next one.